All right, guys, this is my 1973 Ford F100 Ranger. Lost power the other day while I was driving. It acted just like it ran out of gas. I knew I had a full tank. So when I was pulled over on the side of the road, I sprayed starter fluid under the top. It fired up. Now people will say that even if you're not getting spark, that your motor will fire on just starter fluid alone. That can be true for some motors. The compression chambers need to be warm enough for it to fire on starter fluid alone. It's actually quite unlikely that it's going to fire on starter fluid alone if there is no spark. So I determined that spark was not my issue. I knew that I was getting spark. You know, I checked all my wires. There's my ignition coil. Check that. I actually even had a backup electric ignition module. I had a backup of one of those, slapped that in. It was still firing with starter fluid alone. So I figured that my issue was the fuel. Now I had just replaced the fuel pump not too long ago, but you know, sometimes even new parts will go out. So I'm going to tell you guys what I did to test to see if that fuel pump was working or not. Now that is a mechanical fuel pump. That shaft right there that you see, that part of the fuel pump that goes that way, where it bolts in, there's a little lever that goes into there and it flicks. The lever moves up and down, moving the diaphragm, drawing the fuel, pumping the fuel. So it's a mechanical fuel pump. What I did to determine if the fuel pump was working or not is from that line, from this line right here that comes off the bottom of the fuel pump there, it comes up this way, up to the carburetor right there. I took this Dunkin' Donuts bottle right there, I stuck that at the end of this hose and I cranked the motor. Stuck that bottle at the end of the hose right there, cranked the motor, no fuel was getting there. That was my first indication that the fuel pump wasn't good. But I needed to check the delivery line, so which means the line coming from the fuel tank. So what I did was I disconnected the hose that goes to right there, that's the delivery hose. I disconnected that. I put the bottle on it. Right there you can see. Put the bottle on it. Then I came over to my fuel tank, to my gas cap. I blew air with my mouth into that. No homo. Blew air right there to pressurize the tank a little bit to see if fuel was getting delivered. And sure enough, I got plenty of fuel. It was only 1 or 2 puffs of air that I gave that thing. I'm sure you can use a tool for that, but whatever. 1 or 2 puffs of air, and I got fuel in that cup. Plenty of fuel. You can even see it there a little bit. I got plenty of fuel. So that tells me that my fuel lines are more or less clear. Sure, there could be something in there, but the fuel filter is new as well. And my fuel filter is nothing special. It's nothing fancy, but the fact that I'm getting fuel from the tank, but not from the fuel pump up there, even when you're cranking the motor and the motor doesn't want to fire, that pump should still be pumping, actuating the diaphragm that's inside there, pumping fuel up this hard line through this soft line to the carburetor. So that's how you can determine real easy if your fuel pump is bad. So now I'm going to go through replacing the fuel pump, which is going to be real easy. I don't think I need to make a second video for that because it's just 2 bolts. There's one there and there's one on the other side identical to it, and that's all it is to replace your fuel pump. So hope this helps somebody. The only thing I could say is maybe this line's going to be in the way, but you have to remove that anyway. So I'd remove this hard line first, take those 2 bolts off, take that bolt right there and the one on the other side off. Fuel pump comes right out, slap a new one in, and that'll fix my problem. Hope this helps somebody out.